Hello everybody.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Happy Life Show.
That's right.
Here is my wonderful yummy the screen went yummy then. Yummy Ahiranta, my wife, not yours.
Alright, and this is my gorgeous, my God, Ozay Tulku Rinpoche. Woo! Yes. I mean, look at him. He is 66 years old.
Yeah, 66. Yes.
Stand up and show them.
Yeah, man.
Oh, wow. His head is disappearing. Sorry about that. No, he looks fantastic.
Yeah.
Even my sis Hannah this morning wrote that you have a body like a god.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with her eyes, honestly.
No, it's true.
10-10 vision.
No, 2020. 2020.
Well, she does wear glasses.
No, she doesn't. No, he's training. He's really always taking care of your body. And since you were 10 years old, you have done boxing. Yeah. And before that, you loved cross-country running.
Yes, I think it's part of the spiritual life, really, because I think we have to introduce new things into spirituality. There's been all sorts in the past, and hidden corners of the world about like ascetics and people punishing themselves. Yeah, punishment comes naturally throughout our life. So cause and effect brings punishment, but we punish also ourselves by wrongful thinking. Yeah. But I would like to ask you today. Sorry. So now and then we still have a little bit of a cough. We had because of COVID, man.
Sorry.
Do you know, I never had a cold. I said this in one of the other videos, but I haven't had one for ages since COVID. And then we dropped the guards down just for one day, and what happens?
We caught it. Yeah. We were in a small space wearing masks. And for 2 hours we had to be in a small space with other people, and 7 days later Ozay started showing symptoms. The next day mine came.
Mind you, there's nothing compared to what's going on in Ukraine,
No, exactly.
What's happening out there, I'm really sad about. And my brother's out there actually, he's living in Sumi. And we've always had conflict between us because we came from that kind of background. But I wish no harm to him. And it must be hectic where he is living right now. And for the rest of those people out there, people being dislodged from their homes and things.
Yeah, any war zone, isn't it? And then people's houses completely destroyed. They've worked hard to build a life, and it's just all gone because a few people on the top decide to go to war.
If we send good feelings,
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely convinced that we can influence people. If we know about what we're talking about, in these videos, how we can influence the universal consciousness and other people's minds just by sending the thoughts and the feelings and the energy.
Yeah. Okay.
It's so important.
I wanted to ask you to talk us through Ozay reached Enlightenment in 82.
Yeah.
1982, and then there is a life after enlightenment, and we hear a lot about how enlightened people should be and shouldn't be, and it are all those people who have read a book, they are considering themselves the experts, and they say, if you was really enlightened, you wouldn't say this, or if you was really enlightened, you wouldn't do that. So address that first.
Okay.
Just the doing, that the people have an idea about what enlightenment is and how an enlightened person will be.
Okay, I want to point out for the first point about that is nobody can be here in mind, talking, feeling, thinking, and in enlightenment. That's the first classic mistake that everyone does, because this here is bullshit. And if I go to my real self, that is very uncompassionate, uncomfortable, and nice for other people, because us people, we used to be in, we keep talking about comforting. We need gratification all the time. We need the sense of the person being there. Persona, remember the Greek meaning of persona? It means that which speaks from behind a mask. And so if the mask has been torn away, there's nothing. The mask is the pretense, and it creates the speech, and because it's the persona. But that which stands behind the mask is absolute silence. And to sit in a room, and I saw this when I first came here to live back in society, that there was discomfort with my real, what your real, our realness, our real essence, nature. And you can't, as you are now, it's an alien to you as you are now. And therefore, but there is a great thing that's inside of us that is called great compassion. And I'm not talking about idiot's compassion. Idiot's compassion is where we consider that it's something that makes us look good in a way, I mean, that's unfortunate. And it's about identifying, I am compassionate. As soon as you say, I am compassionate, you're a bullshitter, sorry. But if you want to get realized, you need to know the truth about yourself and your lies and your deceptions. One of them is compassion. I am compassionate. And but the person who's at enlightenment is naturally, his natural nature is compassion and love, and divine love, and not the love that I've seen so many people talk about. That's not love. So what I did personally, I became a persona out of that sense of compassion for other people's needs and suffering. And,
okay, can I stop you for a minute? Because
sure.
we talk about that later. I would like you to stay focused on the fact that people tell you how you should be because you say, I have reached enlightenment. But people make the mistake that they think if you have reached enlightenment, then you should behave in a certain way according to what they take out of books. But you always say, I hear you talk to many people from all over the world, and you say, listen, if I was in enlightenment, I would not speak, sit here and talk to the world. You would be silent, and that is what people don't get.
Yeah.
That when they interact with you, that they are talking to a reinvented persona after enlightenment, that you are not in enlightenment now.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
Well, to start with, there's phases, and the phases to enlightenment, right? So you start off with developing focus of mind, and then you develop awareness, then joy, then bliss, then enlightenment comes. But this takes lots and lots of hours sat. And so that's the parts before enlightenment, and that's the parts that happen. They're practices, basically. And if I become a persona again, then I become a personality. And so whatever I need for this environment, I develop that persona. This persona now is a persona for you guys out there. And you wouldn't like who I really am. You'd feel very uncomfortable, because I could sit here and be the enlightened person. I could sit in my enlightenment. I mean, consider this, and I'm sure I've had debates about this with people, and they say you should be this, you should be that, you should be compassionate, you should be loving.
Yeah.
I mean, should, and they don't understand that if I give them, they say, for instance, compassion, right? And I see something in a person, for instance, and thing is self-realization. I realize my own nature, and I realize cause and effect, and in a very deep way that most people can't even fathom out. And it means that I can see something in a person, and I see that this something in a person, a trait, can be detrimental towards their future mental well-being and the people around them. And it requires, listen to this, you won't believe this if you're one of these namaste and less put flowers in our hair and stuff, but it could require a punch on the jaw, and that comes from compassion. So no, you say that's not true. How can you punch somebody on the jaw and call that compassion? Because it's not about pain and suffering. Is what teaches us to become wiser people. And at certain points, we are used in negative ways to help develop something that's how do you call it? It's in its development stages and not quite finished. A beautiful part of the persona, and but it needs some form of suffering often. And we only become wise, we only wake up when we've been burned. And therefore, I see these things that connect because I've had a deep understanding of my own causes and effects. And if you let this go, this will lead to that person's downfall, that suffering. It must stop now. And stopping doesn't mean to say that you're going to say, oh look, you need to stop this because this is going to happen. They won't believe you. And so cause and effect, they make a cause and you are the effect. Sorry, that's the truth.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that you're violent.
I'm not a violent
people.
person, so
No.
I hate violence.
But it's just an example that's for growth to happen.
Yeah.
Most people need go through a period of suffering before they become ready to look in other places. So about when you came out of enlightenment, you had, for example, you had to go and visit your mom.
Yeah. I mean, my mother, if you think that, for instance, my mother was this and I was that, my mother was this bit and I was that bit, she was this and I was that, and all these different things, that was her son. And I'm just the body that carries all those things that took years and years to train it into and become the son.
And she was used to that son.
That was a son, a real son to her that she understood as a son. All these things trained and learned and developed and memorized. And then one day I saw, in Enlightenment, I saw that was not me, not real. I was that which stood behind all of those learned behavioural things, all those conditioned things, all those responses. And but in front of my mother, that person had actually died death. It was non-existent. It died. It's like a spirit.
The persona unravels, isn't it?
Yeah, it was dead. It died, complete death. All of those learned things was dead. And but yet I could call it back up because I had to. It wasn't who I was anymore, but for my mother, I had compassion for my mother, and I didn't want to cause any unnecessary suffering to my mother, and therefore I brought it back up, those fake personas, those fake things. And I know you'll argue with that.
But this time you did it in full awareness. That's the difference, isn't
with awareness, yes. And so I become, in a way, you've heard the saying where you recognise you're an actor, and you have these lines to read and then to remember, and then you speak the lines when the time is right. And so therefore, that's what I did. I dissolved the self, the instinctive self, and I lived more from the essence self. But then, as time went by, in this society, I had to keep hold of that fake self, and because you have to live. I had to go to work. If I went on a building site and became like Jesus on a building site, then it's just a piss take. You know, you can't survive. You won't get your wages. You won't get work done. And I remember that even though I put on a fake persona with awareness, as Ahiranta mentioned, I also would attract people towards me because they smelt something was different about me. And the funniest thing is, I remember on that building site I worked down the road there, that people would be attracted, and it would always end up with spiritual discussions. Even though I was being like a fake persona, I would seem to have all the answers for everything that they would come up with. Some answers were not liked. And like in the effect of forgiveness, what do you do, somebody said to me once, if somebody have done something nasty to a child? And I say, for you? What do you do for you? You have to forgive. What? A pervert? You know, a child molester, a child murderer? Forgive? And they don't realise that that's for them. That's their
The
road.
forgiveness is for them, yeah.
But for you ask the question, for you the answer is to let go, forgive, and try to understand, accept, let go. And so therefore, some of the answers for the ego is not nourishing for the ego. Because let's face it, you know, enlightenment is about, and again, I've had debates about this. The ego needs to be destroyed, and then they say something like, yeah, but we need a healthy ego, don't we? Yes, we need a healthy ego in order to live in society, but we do not need to be convinced that we
are the ego. Yeah,
right?
it's
We
all
need
about
to
the
know.
awareness again, isn't
yeah,
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I met you for the first time, I didn't only recognize you from former lives, but I just recognize, and still do, you're just completely different. Not better, not worse, different. You're different than anybody else I have met before. And that's not to trump him up or down.
I don't try to be different.
It's just a fact in life. It's just how it is. And I was intrigued by it. And I think that you, having reached enlightenment and developed a new persona, but this time with awareness, I think you having reached enlightenment, that was my blessing as well. Because, and many other people who come and tell you through correspondence online how you have changed their lives.
Yeah.
But you have definitely literally saved mine.
Yeah.
And that was partly because of the inner work you have been doing.
Yeah.
And I'm always a little bit amazed about the fact how people who haven't reached enlightenment consider themselves experts, and by that think they have the right to judge you. They don't. They have a fixed idea how an enlightened person
Shall I tell you something?
would be. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shall I tell you something about enlightenment and society? Well, to start with, there's enlightenment itself, which I can't be sure in enlightenment. And then there's moving back into. Like for 3 years after the enlightened day, first day, for 3 years I was, for instance, I would never sleep. It was, I would close my eyes, bang, I'm into no mind, no space, no time. And then a moment later, 8 hours gone, I'm up and going to work. So there was never sleep at that time, because when there's no mind, you tend to, when you go into no mind, you tend to, in a day, you don't use your mind. But the problem is, you're in essence nature, which is the tree of essence nature is love, compassion, kindness, doing for others, just give. And the thing is, I remember that although I had enlightenment when I first came here to live, but some of my old life was still following me around. And like there was a bunch of heavy mob people who came here to do me over. They wanted to kill me, basically. And my wife was pregnant at the time, and it was dangerous because they came with violence. They came with weapons to try to hurt me. And you know something? I was still in the not in enlightenment, but in the effect of enlightenment. There's effects, and it has symptoms. Like I said, compassion, love, kindness, laughter is a part. Laughter, you feel like you're going to fall over laughing, and this was part of it. And like they came to the door to do me over, and a big car full of people, which is, and so. But for me, I'd look into their faces, and I know the fruitlessness of where they're coming from. And the old thing that motivates them to be standing there, and the old fakeness of why they got that club in it and to hurt me with, why they want to hurt me. And in my belly, I'm like, I really want to laugh. But this time, they came down and my wife was pregnant, and she got hurt at the door. Well, not hurt, but there was a possibility that she could have gone more hurt. She was pushed. And I saw that these people, if I didn't deal with this in their kind of way, and I couldn't deal with it with the enlightened way, because turn the other cheek, and punch me there. It doesn't work in this day and age. It might have worked for Jesus at that particular incident that he spoke about.
That's right.
In this day and age, they won't only hit you on the other cheek, but when you fall on the floor, they'll kick you and they'll pound you, and then they'll do your wife over, and then they'll do your children over, and they'll make your wife abort. So you don't do that now. In this day and age, it's different. Okay, this is 2022. So I had a bit of a issue on my hands now. I knew these guys were going to come back to do me over again because the police had come and they got rid of them. We're talking about my enlightenment now, when I first come here to live. And so I had to go up there and face them, I had to go on their ground. Logic said to me that to stop them coming around, you've got to show that you're not scared. Well, I wasn't scared at all. I was completely, on the enlightened side of it, I was completely falling over in laughter. But on the other side, there was danger.
Yeah, protect life.
The unborn baby, which is Crystal Lou now, she's 38 years old, my beautiful daughter, Crystal Lou. And I had to make sure that nothing bad was going to happen. So how could I deal with that? How could I go up there? Because they were living in a place called Rowner. And it was a bad place, bad reputation, drug taking and all that kind of stuff, violence. And I had to face them, front them up, and give them what they understand and stop them on their line of attack. And which meant I had to go up there and I had to take on all the guys that was down here. And I remember driving up to go up there and to front them out. And I had to pull over on the side of the road because in my belly it was just, I wasn't scared, not at all scared. I was just, I didn't, if you want to, it reminded me of the days that I was in boxing, and there was this guy who was boxing in a strange way, and he was doing something strange like this, with it, and I wanted to fall over laughing, and I found myself in the same situation now. I had to go up there and fight these guys, and really all I wanted to do was fall over laughing because it was nothing I could get serious about. It was nothing I could get serious. It was all gone. All that instinctive wanting to fight, anger, hate, all that stuff, it had gone. And then I had to pull over on the side because I knew I didn't have the strength to fight in that sense because of the power of my laughter or essence or whatever. And then I remember pulling over. I had to have 5 minutes with myself and making a prayer. And I asked to be given some of the power that I would have in that situation in my past former days. And then so I go up there, and then I knock on the door, and I had the power to do what I needed to do.
Yeah, you sorted it out.
So
yes.
I had to call it up, basically, that what I needed to deal with that situation. It wasn't who I knew I really was, but it had to be a fake persona, the fighter man had to come back, the warrior.
Because some people might say, yeah, but if you're really enlightenment, you would have laid down your life, or you cannot put, but you never put suffering upon them. They put suffering upon themselves.
Yeah.
Plus you had the duty to protect the unborn child. You had the duty to protect your late wife, Kay, bless her soul. And you had to reactivate certain actions, but you did it all with awareness this time. What I wanted to say is about that it did not only come to that kind of situations, also to sexual interaction.
Oh yeah.
Because that was gone too, isn't it?
Yeah, because in the process to enlightenment, I was a young man. I was 24 years old, and in the prime of my sexual nature, and there I was, thrown in a prison cell.
Don't get it wrong, he's still a stallion.
Yeah, I have to bring that back, but it's back in a different way now, not like it was when I was a young man.
No.
And
but that is because the enlightenment as well.
Yeah, but I don't know if it's true. I can only speak from my own self. But
that's right.
They say generally that a young man, he thinks like, 90 some odd % of the thoughts he has is sexual related. Something really. I
forgot
don't
the
know.
statistics. Yeah, sorry.
But anyway, I know it's a high percentage of the thoughts that go through the mind of a young man and a young woman, likely, is sexually related. So here I am now in a prison cell, and I'm looking at maybe a life sentence. I didn't know. I was told to expect a life sentence, and so I'm kind of considering. And every now and then I would sit in meditation, and the lust would come in there, and all the physical symptoms of lust would happen. And it was just an interruption to my meditation. And so I tried to get rid of it, which I was successful at. And I meditated on getting rid of the sexual lust, the sexual thoughts and feelings and the reactions of the body. And I found out a few things about sex, which was interesting, actually. But maybe I better not speak about that, another discussion. But anyway, so what I did, to get rid of the sexual thoughts and the feelings, I related it. I made an association, I tagged it. I tagged sex with every bad thing in my life was sexual related, because I had bad relationship, and from the bad relationship came the bad behaviour, and from the bad behaviour came a prison sentence. So I was able to make bad association, everything to do with sex. And so I would sit in meditation, and the thought would come up, and then I would bad associate it. And then I would sit in meditation, thought, feeling would come up, I would bad associate it. So it would neutralize. And eventually, if you keep doing this, it's a bit like what the Buddha once said. When a piece of wood is saturated from the river and it's washed up on the shore and it lies in the sun, then it becomes cleared of the water. There's no more water, it becomes dry. And that's what happened to me. So I bad associated it, free of it eventually. And so that was how I got rid of the impression of sex and the feelings of sex. And then, of course, that was the demon conquered. And then there was further to go after that, of course. And then coming back into life.
After enlightenment.
After being released from prison and back into society. And there was still work I had to do. And so I came and had to live as a domestic person, and which meant a wife, children that I'd already created, and but there was something missing, and that was the sex. The sex drive, it was gone, absolutely gone, dead. And I had to call it up, and so I knew how I got rid of it, by drying out, and I had to bring it back, and I had to consider it, think of it, and I had to introduce it to myself in my mind more, and then eventually it came back. And that was difficult. But
hard work, yeah.
So now you become attached again. And enlightenment is about losing all attachment, right? Okay, you live in a house, you have to pay rent, you have to go to work, you have to work, you have a wife, you have children, you have a car. And so if you're not attached, you're doing a really good job. And if you've just had enlightenment like I did, and then you come and you participate in the world, but you're not of the world, as they say, then you have to, thing is, you have to stay free from the world. But the thing is, I've heard the idea spread around out there in spiritual groups that participate in the world, but don't be of the world. But the thing is, in situations that I had to come up with, I had to be, as in the incident of the violence that was put at my doorstep, I had to create the violence inside myself to protect the family around me. And therefore, I had to convince myself that I was that person, the real violent person. I'm not that person. But for that time...
But you can call it up when needs be.
I have to call it up, but it's a serious invocation, and I don't like it.
It's a bit like magic, isn't it? Like Aleister Crowley.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Spirits.
Yes.
I mean, a thought is a spirit, and that would bring us to. We were going to have another talk about that, about psychometry.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And about. Psychometry is like, if you wear something, a ring or something like that, and you often wear it, even clothes, that you, for some strange reason, right, you can, because I've experimented in spiritual circles, and we did what they call psychometry. What is psychometry? Psychometry is reading, like holding it in your hand, the ring, let's say, and hold it in your hand and being able to read everything about the person that owned that owned the ring, everything about the person, all the knowledge, all the likes, dislikes, is in the ring. I mean, I'm a person, and this ring, to a good psychometry reader, will read everything about me from this ring.
Just by holding it?
Just by holding it, having a blank mind, and allowing the impressions to come. So, and that's my spirit is in the ring, and it's only small, the ring, but how can my whole spirit in this big body go into the ring?
Because spirit is energy, isn't it?
Yeah. The answers you get in life are only as good as the questions you ask, and if you don't ask good questions, you're not going to get good answers.
Yeah, or if you have fixed ideas and fixed beliefs and
beliefs, get rid of them. And a lot of people say you can't live without beliefs. Not true.
But no, it's not totally true, because in our former talk we talked about belief. You can use belief. It is a word.
But it's in a different way.
That's right. And that is also a little bit of a problem when it comes to talks about coming from somebody who has reached enlightenment. They seem to be contradicting themselves, but they are not.
No.
It depends to who they speak to. I do
and about
remember
what and where they're coming from.
Yeah, I remember reading, but because I am a reader.
Well, you said
Ozay. Ozay is not a reader, but I am, because when Ozay came out of enlightenment, he didn't know the word enlightenment. You didn't know what had happened to you.
I didn't know what it was. I never read it from any books.
No, and if you hear him talk and use certain terms that are used in the spiritual world, he all learned that later on. That experience. Oh right, my experience is called this. Oh right. Oh my experience is called that. But
enlightenment was a moving process. If you listen to the people who learned about enlightenment, it's different points. you get to this point, you get to that point, you get to that point, you get to that point.
Oh, they call that yanas in certain teachings. They call that yanas.
Yeah, but it's like when, and all I had was what I read from the back of a magazine in a Birmingham bus one day, and that was end mind, end suffering.
That's
and
all
Ozay.
Like that's all that Ozay took into the prison cell. That's how he started meditating. He didn't know nothing about meditation except that one sentence. He wrote about it in his book.
Yeah.
Freedom, Escape the Prison of the Mind by Ozay Rinpoche. But what I like to add is that something that people say Buddha has said, because I wasn't there, I don't know if he really said it, but
2,500 years ago.
That's right, same with the Bible. But the truth in all religion, they have one truth, and that's love. Anyway, Buddha apparently said things to disciples, people who came to him, just like people are coming, not that I say that he's the Buddha, but he reached the same state as Buddha. People come to Ozay from all over the world, and then Ozay gives them advice, just like Buddha shares his experience, Ozay shares his experience. And then people say, yeah, but you said something to that person, and then you say the opposite to that person.
Yeah.
And he said, Buddha said, and Ozay says too, but both are the truth. That person is there in its development, and that person is there in its development. And that is something people just do not understand.
Well, I'll give you an example of something like you spoke about belief. And, you can believe in elephants flying, right? But you're never going to see an elephant fly.
Jumbo.
Ooh. Dumbo.
Dumbo.
Dumbo flies.
Yeah. But and if it's on the TV, it's real.
It's real. And okay, then so there's categories of belief, right? And belief, right? One point I'll say to you, you should never have a belief. But that's meaning like...
That's right.
I believe Jesus will come down from heaven, pick me up and put me somewhere. And Jesus will make everything good.
He might.
But you don't know the science behind what that means. I mean, it comes from somewhere that's really knowing, right? Jesus will look after you. But if you're not in the right mode and energy level, because if you believe like, how do you say, like that statue is going to, at any moment now, I believe that statue is going to go up, it's going to stick in the ceiling, and it's going to stay there. And it's not going to happen, is it? Okay, so what am I getting at?
There's a statue standing there, actually. Sorry, it's out of sight, but there's a statue there. There's a statue of the Buddha there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Buddha. It looks a bit dodgy, that there, doesn't it?
Oh.
Anyway, so there's this belief that the three-legged horse is going to win a race, okay? And it's not the Grand National. There's something more I've missed out here. But anyway, and then there's
belief. You said if you believe that it's going to rise up and then fall down.
I think that...
Because sometimes you say don't believe, but sometimes you do say believe.
Yeah, because it depends on the level of realization you've come to.
That's right.
And where belief, if you're a person of no realization, no level of focus and stillness,
awareness,
then your beliefs is just shit. You can believe that's going to up in the ceiling and it's going to move and it's going to be float and things like that. But if you're totally spent a lot of years, for instance, like there was a guy who meditated in Borneo, and then some fella who remembered him from years ago, he went to seek him out, and he was still meditating in the Borneo jungle, and the fella had to spend a lot of time in meditation, in the jungle, in isolation. And the reason this filmmaker, he went to seek him out, he was a healer, and he wanted healing or something. And I don't know what they call those people. They are like shaman type people or whatever. But they hold a significant high place in the spiritual belief system. And we're talking about belief. And anyway, so he spent a lot of time focusing his mind to that laser strength. And so he goes out there to make a documentary about this fella healing other people with his hands. And but when he wasn't doing that, he was back out in the jungle in isolation, meditating, focusing in our mind. And then, so he managed to find him. And so he demonstrated something that he wouldn't normally do, this fella, but I don't even know why he'd done it, but he captured it on film. And he showed that he could set fire to a piece of paper with his hands. And but a person who tries to do that, who believes they can do it, and hasn't put into it all the meditation in the isolation and the stillness, he's not going to be able to do that. So that's where belief is
fake.
It's just crap.
Yeah.
Dormant. Yeah. So if you want to make belief come alive, you have to put the time into it, or the no time, because meditation is no time. And but belief today is generally it's about pie in the sky, basically. It's rubbish. And so that's when if you hear me saying one day, well, I have no belief. I don't have belief, but I use belief.
You use the power of belief.
I use the power of belief.
Yeah, that's good, Phil.
So,
yeah, Ozay, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I have to say. And so I think, will that be it?
No.
Or do you have more?
Yeah. We make an hour talk about this because the life after enlightenment is an important subject.
Yeah.
And the people who are interested in that will watch an hour, and those who are not, they will move on. That's fair enough. But I'm intrigued by the reaction of other people towards you.
Yeah.
Another thing is also you can't preach in your own village. That's also something. We are not Christians, but I was raised Catholic. I don't know nothing about the Bible. All I know I have learned from Ozay. Because when Ozay landed himself in prison, the only thing that was in the prison cell was a bed, a metal bed, a bucket as toilet, yes, a bucket, and a Bible.
And a window right at the top up there.
Yeah, but that was not in your cell, that was part of the cell. But that was the only items in the cell. So, and when Ozay left school at the age of 14, he was hardly able to read or write. So we developed a routine because we are very...
I couldn't make coherent sort of sentence. I could read a sentence. But
yes. And you couldn't concentrate long enough to read the sentence. Yeah. Of course you knew the letters and stuff, but you was not a practiced reader. So routine, even now, we are really strong on routine because that benefits my health, but it benefits everybody's health who has no health problems really. So in the cell you developed a very strict routine, and part of that was, the book was there, just as well read it. So
I couldn't read it properly.
First you had to sleep off all your tiredness, and because when you started to try to sit like the man on the picture that you saw on the bus, you kept falling forward and backwards and sideways. So he decided to sleep the tiredness out. Then you started practicing your body to sit, because it's like an exercise, sitting in lotus.
I couldn't do it to start with.
And then the claustrophobia made him jump up and burst out in sweat. And anyway, he overcame all that. So he developed a practice. Exercise, push-ups. He's always been very physical in exercise. Bible reading, lotus position. That was the 3 things you did. All those
3 things,
continuously.
Yeah.
So when you developed that routine, and what I know about the Bible, I have heard from Ozay, because although Ozay doesn't classify himself as anything either, he knows the Bible front, back, and upside down, because he studied the Bible while he was in that cell over and over again, and then
I'm not a Christian.
No, but that is okay. It's okay to be a Christian.
Yeah, if
but
you
we
want to be
don't,
Christian,
and we don't identify with being a Buddha or
You lose
Buddhist
it.
or because otherwise, as soon as you identify being a Buddhist, you're not longer open for the Christian teaching or the Islam teaching, or you need to stop.
And you segregate yourself.
Yeah, we are whole with everything. We can see the truth in all religion. So when I say about what I know from the Bible, I have learned from you. And I have explained now absolutely everything to make a point,
Yeah.
which I forgot. But and one thing I didn't learn from you, for example, from the Bible, is when Jesus turns up the tables.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
that was
yeah.
people see that as a violent act, but it's not a violent act. It is.
What is it an act of?
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. That's a good point there, actually, because
See, I'm excellent.
yeah, Jesus, like everyone in the Western world is, and the Western world is predominantly Christian, and the morals is the essence of morals is left now, or the few morals is left now is basically from the Victorian past, which was strong in morals, Christian morals, and Jesus, right? I mean, if you speak to a Christian about Jesus, and so you know, I mean, I haven't got a problem with this. I mean, everyone is at their own point of understanding, and but if you speak about Jesus to the greater part of Christians, they got him like as this guy who's floating around, who's heavenly bliss everywhere he goes. But if that was really the case, what happened at the temple when he upturned he saw all the tax gatherers and the money lenders at the temple, the holy temple, and then he went in a rage and he turned up the tables and
Boris Johnson was sitting behind one of those tables.
Yeah, the bastard. Sorry, Boris.
Sorry, Boris, we love you.
Boris, if you're out there listening to this, right?
Which you won't.
You shouldn't have ignored us the other week when we were down in London. We
Yeah.
came down here to talk to you specially and you ignored us.
We saw you, Boris.
We saw you, you son of a bitch. We'll catch you next time, though. Anyway, okay, forget about that.
Yeah, but he was one of those money launderers behind the table. And Jesus turned over the tables.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, the wisdom that came from that fella and the stories. Was he a real persona? Well, if he wasn't a real persona, the person that wrote about him must have been in Enlightenment, because somebody was somewhere, because all those traits of the essence nature of the teachings, it must have come from somewhere. And I would say that Jesus was probably a real person. There's a lot of ideas out there that he wasn't real, blah blah blah.
But that's not of no importance.
Yeah, but the fact is, right, that he was said to be enlightened, or the Son of God, or God realized, or whatever you want to call it, right? But the fact is, anger came, and if you look, and if you ask a person what is a God realized person, like he's not somebody who's going to upturn the money lender's table or get angry with the tax gatherers. So it's just a point we are trying to show that people have a wrong perception of an enlightened person.
That's right.
And although
especially the intellect, the intellectuals make their mind up by what they read. And instead of going inside of themselves and find out for themselves, they go out in the world, consider themselves experts. And we had a very interesting person writing for a while into our channel underneath one of those videos. And that person asked, for example, what makes you think that you two are qualified to talk about these kinds of subjects? Well, because we talk about our experiences, that makes us qualified. Do we need to read big intellectual books to become qualified? Do we need to study at the university, which I did, No, it is all about, this is what I've come to see, this is what I've come to experience, and here it is. I give it to you with my open hand, you can accept it, and you can do something with it in your own way, you don't need to do it as me, and you can reject it. And do you know what? It's all okay.
Yeah.
But I feel it my duty to share my experience, so that 1, 2, 1,000, million, doesn't matter how many, might improve the way they are feeling. There's so many people out there who are struggling at the moment, psychologically, mentally. Sorry, mate.
Sorry.
But I really strongly feel I came from the deepest abyss, and I have climbed out. And I didn't do it on my own. I did it with the help of this wonderful man who has become my husband. So I would like to pay it forward. That's all. That's all, isn't it? It's paying forward.
And I don't like to sound, I as far as I'm concerned, big-headed. But I look at how I'm projecting myself, my fake persona, you guys out there, and I look big-headed to you guys, right? But the truth is the truth. And if I have to be modest.
That's a talk too, modest.
If I have to be modest, like not speak, I don't speak the truth. And a person who's had enlightenment speaks the truth. They're neither modest nor arrogant nor whatever. They're humble, but you ask them a question comes up. Were you enlightened? Yeah. Oh, isn't that rather big-headed of you?
Yeah. An enlightenment person would never say that.
And so there's all these, like, you're looking through the glasses of ego, and you can't see your pure nature because you've never known the pure nature yourself, and you don't know that if you ask an enlightened, I'm not enlightened, right? A person who's had enlightenment, I am, and if you ask a person who's had enlightenment, you're going to get a straight answer. And there's not going to be modesty and there's not going to be arrogance. It's the truth in the middle. It's the middle way. And there was something else, wasn't there?
But while he thinks about his next point, if you ask a Dutch person, you will get straight answer to, and there is no modesty. I mean, if you compare...
people.
If you compare the Dutch culture to the British culture, and all in their good right, I mean, I don't say one is better than the other, but we Dutch people are often here, I've heard, considered rude. Because I'm very direct. If I see something in front of me and I say, you look gorgeous, and I can say that to male and female, I can see beauty in all of them. That is, they are really taken back by it. But when I feel good about myself, I also blur out, I think I'm absolutely fabulous.
You are.
But I am. But that is a no thing. You shouldn't say that about yourself. You should how do you tone yourself down?
Yeah, for other people.
And you should do this and you should that. And that's the whole point of this conversation. How somebody is said to have to be, how they should be. And
don't be modest is the...
No, but also, and modesty, I think
bullshit.
I think it is misunderstood. Because I say sometimes I'm gorgeous, that doesn't mean I think I'm better than anybody. That has nothing to do with it. That's just a moment, and I express a feeling that flows through my body, and at that moment in time, I feel gorgeous. I have many moments that I feel ugly, but then I don't blur it out, because who wants to hear that? It doesn't mean that I'm less or more better than other people. It's just people, I think what we try...
It's just truthful, Bianca.
Yeah, and I also what we try to say here is that we have to move away from those judgments. We need to judge to keep ourselves safe. Is that a good situation or not? Fight or flight. But other than that, it's about acceptance and listening to each other without thinking we know better. We don't know everything. So if we are wrong, please put it in the comments. We love to hear your thoughts about it.
I want to correct something Ahiranta just said then. And that is, we ask for proof about enlightenment, and how can I prove I had enlightenment? To start with, for me personally, I don't need to prove it to anyone.
No.
And I have no need to prove it, no need whatsoever. And what's important is what I know. And what you believe has no relevance. What you believe has no relevance.
About you.
Whether you believe I had enlightenment, whether you believe I didn't have enlightenment, is no relevance.
No, that's right.
The proof of the pudding, as they say, is in the eating.
Yeah.
So, what's he eating? Ask me a question, any question you like, okay, and I'll answer it. Because I have one thing the enlightenment gave me when I had it, had. Take note of the word had. I'm not in it, okay? That I found all the answers to all the questions.
Yes, but
And if you don't believe that, question me.
But the problem is, darling, that once people have made up their mind, you can talk. That is what we call in Holland. You can talk like Brugman. They won't hear your voice. They hang on to what they believe. But they hang on. So although you know all the answers, and I can how do you call it? Like I can witness to that. No, I can witness to it. And I have reached mind realization, and my computer, that is the consciousness.
Realization of the nature of your mind. Your own mind.
That's right.
Not mind of others.
Yes.
But realizing your own nature, of your own mind, these words, the way you put them together are important, because it's also relevant to what a person knows and what they don't know. Listen to the way they put the words together.
Yeah.
Because like, I am enlightened, I have had enlightenment. A person who says, I am enlightened is a liar.
Yeah, because you wouldn't speak.
Can't be. They
you
can't
wouldn't
speak.
Yeah,
Can't
that's
speak.
right. When you're in enlightenment.
And you guys out there who read the jhanas and what have you, and the Vedas and what have you, and you already made your mind up. But what you don't understand is when you read something, you're static. You're not moving as a real person anymore. You're stuck on that sentence, one moment at a time. But an enlightened person like Jesus, he was moving. He was moving through different states of energy within himself. And he had to react to different parts of the environment, whether he was a stage actor or whether he was instinctively acting.
Yeah.
I think he was a stage actor, personally. That's my own informed understanding of what he was doing. He had to pretend. I could be wrong. It could have been totally in the anger, but if you're totally in the anger, like Osho once stated, you read about Osho, and if you're going to be in anger, be totally in anger. Well, if you're totally in anger, there's nothing outside of you that judges anything. So you're in the awareness of the anger. Your awareness is there.
Yeah, be the anger.
So you're aware in the anger. Yeah. And when you're aware in the anger leaves you eventually.
That's right.
And then you're just acting it through.
Yes.
So there's an awareness and then there's an act.
And it sets you free.
And you are free because the awareness is watching.
Yeah.
And I think that Jesus was, when he was in the temple and he upturned those tables and what appeared to others, because others can only understand others as they are themselves and where they are themselves. And if this person acts like that, then they relate to it from their own past experience and memories. When I was acting like that, I was really lost into it. But a person with awareness, they're not really lost in the instinctive reactions, but aware is there and acting is there. So there was two things.
And acting, that's right.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it is 20 to 7 at the moment in the evening here while we're recording this. And normally we only eat at 12 noon and 6 in the afternoon. So we're well behind our routine.
Oh yeah, that's what we do is intermittent fasting.
Yeah, intermittent
fasting. We only eat 2 meals a day. And And I would like to eat 1 meal a day, but well, I have to be careful. 2 meals a day, and when you eat too much food and you're putting on a bit of fat on your body, that's a bad sign, not just because of the way you look, but it can interfere with the way you think as well.
Yeah, food, everything. Food,
Yeah,
drink.
Yeah. Okay.
This time, for the first time, we had a glass of wine while we recorded the videos. I would like to say thank you, Ozay, for sharing your experience.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
And,
Are there any more questions out there? If you have any questions, please ask. I have. Okay. I'm no modest, okay?
We see you all next time.
I'm not modest. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's do a bit of Russian stuff.
Yay!
I like Russian. Okay.